Crisis.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis. My name is Joe, the Afroman, and my partner in crime,
Pedro, Cautious Online.
So I've got the formatting set properly this time, where Pedro will be on the left-hand side or right, depending on how it gets exported out. But he's right over there, and
there we go.
It'll work this time as opposed to that weird two-camera view for a while. I don't know what happened there. But welcome to episode 41. This is my last week of unemployment vacation time as my new job kicks in a day after Labor Day, and there will be some hustle and bustle, and a lot more probably won't look as shaggy, and I won't be as homebody-ish.
I am on vacation this week, which means doing work around the house. That is what home ownership is like. It is never a fun deal, but
no, it's not. Like,
at least I'm not at work, so it's fine.
Yeah. I felt like I woke up at 6 this morning, and I've been kind of moving around all day, like just taking the kids to school, getting them ready.
Yeah, because you've got the early start. My kiddo doesn't start till next week, so it's after Labor Day that most schools start up here in the Northeast.
Are you a drop off, or are you a bus rider? What's going on for you guys?
We are a drop off. Probably will be. I'm hoping I'm trying to figure out the timing of it, but I think I can walk her to school and still catch my bus to work. So
hey, you're gonna have to play with that timing, and then what also sucks about all of that, and this is for all parents that are listening to this, is that that first week of school that comes back, you try to plan and go, all right, well, here's how the work week's going to go, and then it doesn't, because that first week is still an anomaly where everyone's like hitting it earlier, and then everyone starts pushing it later, and then the timing settles in, it all settles, floats down to the bottom, whatever. So
the timing of the drop-offs?
Yeah, the drop-offs are fine, but like the traffic, like there's going to be people that are really like dropping them off right at 7 o'clock or right at 6:50.
I gotcha.
And then there's going to be those people that like for 1 week or 3 days are going to drop them off early, and then they're going to be like, oh, I don't need to be there that early. The line is too long at that time. I'll drop them off a little later. And then everyone starts pushing everything back, and everything just settles down. It's what happened with us.
You just got to do this slow roll and kick them out the back, right?
That's what I do. That I've been doing. The first week,
go get your bags.
The first week at the new school, there, they had like music playing, and they had like a jukebox, like "Welcome Back," playing all these like
what
songs? Yeah.
Oh.
They had like everyone's all hyped up and like woo, like freaking doing Fortnite dances and crap like that. And then like second week back, there was like one teacher out there like a roll up, and they're like, "Let him out." I'm like.
The kids are coming out like it's all grayscale, and they're drinking coffee.
I can't start with my morning Joe.
That's so. That's
what I'm saying. Like the first week is always like, "Ooh, everyone's going, new haircut, new shoes, new kicks, getting everything going." Parents dropping them, walking them into school, as opposed to like the like kick and run kind of thing. So yeah,
but then by like mid October, they're just tossing them out the window without even.
They're like a sack of potatoes, dumping them on your door. Here, take them. They're yours now.
Oh, you hate me? Well, I hate you. I'll see you at 3:30. That sounds par for the course. So
I was talking to my partner in crime before the show started that I'm enjoying a bottle of wine today. I made some pasta and then some chicken, and we had some red wine, and lo and behold, today is National Red Wine Day, which is absolutely ludicrous because I was telling them that I have a small little job for my previous job.
Don't reveal the secrets.
Or I do some social media aspect to my old job, and kind of the fluff posts that we do. And you'll. I'm saying this because I want people to notice that maybe other companies that they follow might do this. That there's a National Day calendar, like a frivolous website out there that talks about, posts all these like random National Random Day. So today was National Bow Tie Day and National Red Wine Day, which is actually like what?
I wouldn't celebrate either one.
But maybe you're right. Maybe
I have a good friend who's really into bow ties. Maybe they know about their bow tie day.
I'm sure you do. You do. And also, we were talking about like the lobbyists, like the bow tie lobbyists were out there. Like, do you think the bow tie lobbyists are like for both? There's like two sides to it. They're like,
I bet they're
like the bow tie and the pasta.
The bow tie mafia, I bet, is what they're referred to as, and they show up and they just knock on doors until they get their holiday. And they're like, but who wears bow ties? And they're like, Tucker effing Carlson. And you're like, no.
They're like Alton Brown and
Alton Brown. Exactly. They just go through the list of like, what? These are all B lists. What's going on here? Yeah. So anyway, happy National Red Wine Day. Red Wine Day. I like how we started this show. We were sort of similar, but as we've done this for almost a year now, we've kind of diverged, right? Like I don't even drink anymore. I've just given it up. So I'm
cool. Yeah,
no booze.
Well,
namaste, right?
Yeah, namaste. But I'm slowly just turning into like an alcoholic.
I know. You're gonna be like covered in beard, wearing a cowboy hat, and I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, sir, Marvel movies suck." Yes.
No. Yeah. So I wish we had more like specific news to talk about today, but we don't. It's been kind of slow. There's the end summer slog is coming out. Not many new games have been released.
It's the
ramp up.
Winter season ramp up, right?
That's yeah. And winter season for anyone who's not a video game gamer is September. They release all those the fall games start in September, and just as quick as Starbucks releases their pumpkin spice lattes, video game companies start releasing their fall exclusives.
So, like my birthday's in September, and it's so sad to me that I feel like my entire month has already been skipped. Like all of the hobby stores are already taking down the Halloween stuff. Like it was up in August and they're already taking it down. Like all of it's already at 75% off because it's been out there for like 4 weeks. And I'm just like, how did my birthday get missed completely? Like, did it not happen? An entire month is gone in our holiday calendar. Because
well, I mean, so
everyone's pumpkin spicing
it up. As soon as July 4th hits, right after like July 5th, everyone's like putting up Halloween decorations. They're like, "Oh my god, when is Halloween? Time to get spoopy."
Which makes me, I was just like, but my birthday comes first. Like, it's time to get spooky. I'm like,
so I want to like love you for that.
I know. You got
my birthday is right on Christmas Eve, and it's the worst. So I hear you. If anyone wants to skip a birthday, it's mine. Oh,
I guess you'd be excited if they skipped Christmas, right? If suddenly they were just putting up New Year's stuff and Valentine's Day stuff, you'd be like, what happened to December?
Yeah, but no one cares about those lesser beginning of the year holidays. Like Valentine's Day, everyone's like, meh. It's like, oh, we get a bunch of chocolate and.
Up here in January, they have the like St. Patrick's Day stuff.
Oh yeah,
in January, and
right after Christmas, they start putting up the March stuff. And
I'm like, this is not until March.
Well, I mean, because the Northeast is all about like liver failure and.
Did you say liver failure?
Yeah, they're just like cirrhosis something.
It's funny because it's true.
It's
not a lot to do with the long, dark winters we have up here.
You're right. That's exactly what happens, folks. If you're not familiar with living in a place with lots of winter, that's what happens. Is the reason that the alcoholism is so high in those states is because the snow. I swear there's a correlational map that you can.
Of course.
Like alcohol intake and amount of snowfall.
Babies get made, snowfall, directly connected in the Northeast up here.
Oh, God,
we'd have a negative birth rate, a way more negative birth rate if it wasn't for the snow up here.
So let's start. I want to start off with
it's also nice because we play video games and stuff like that.
Right. As long as your power doesn't go out and your internet doesn't go out, you're good to go.
That's exactly right.
So I want to talk about a little bit about the just kind of what we've been doing since I moved in and I've been unpacking and setting up the game room. You saw a bunch of pictures.
I'm disappointed. I expected your Zelda shelf to be behind the scene, but is it around the
Oh
corner?
no, it's in the game room. There's gonna be a whole tour, and I'm gonna post in there at some point in time, and I'm gonna keep going in and out of focus.
You're gonna do like a Mid-Geek Crisis Cribs? Is that what?
Yeah. Like
Mid-Geek.
I'm gonna open up the fridge and show them my snack packs.
Got nothing but critical hit cola up in here, right?
Oh god.
That would be ridiculous, but it'd be a nice throwback. We should do something like that, right?
Oh, that would be great.
Mid-Geek.
You got to make sure though that you have it set up properly, where like your basement, there's like a room where like you've got like someone tied up there, like oh no, don't worry about that.
No, someone did that already, but no, we don't. I've seen that video. I think it was one of those Star Wars review videos.
Oh yeah.
But no. I mean, like, it actually sounds like a great idea for a Twitch show to visit other people's like nerd bunkers. Like, we're at the right age group to be looking at other people's nerd bunkers and feeling envy. Like, Joe Manganiello has a gorgeous nerd bunker, and there's guys out there with like Fallout. They look like recreations of Fallout vaults for the.
Yeah, that's one of the major pillars of our show here at the Mid-Geek Crisis was when we started the show. We wanted to talk about our kids, raising our kids in the geek way. The amount of time that we have, which is hardly any, but at the same time, the disposable income that we have more than we had when we were in our 20s, right? So like we both have good enough paying jobs that a new game comes out and we're like, yeah, let's buy it. We can buy it. But we're like, we have no time. The one thing we can't buy is time. So like we buy a game like Red Dead Redemption is sitting on my shelf still.
Dude, I don't have time to learn its various subsystems for one or two scenes. I really don't. I can't.
Right. And so I've been more excited about maybe sometimes the small games. Like, for example, I just got a notification right before the show. We started recording the show that Pokemon Masters hit the iOS store, so I can download it. It's one of the new Pokemon.
Is that any good?
It's going to be one of those, like, maybe flash in the pants, play for a couple weeks, battle RPG-ish kind of.
Is it a
Pokemon game? It's a free-to-play game. There's going to be some stuff. Yeah. So I'm sure there's going to be also some money involved. And it gives you, what's nice is they give you a big disclaimer that says, parents, by the way, this is a free-to-play game, but there are things that you can buy and please, and you can go ahead and turn on like spend limits and all sorts of stuff. So that's pretty neat that the game the company in general is just like, hey, this is going to be one of those money things, but we're giving you kind of the options that you can play for free.
Yeah, I like that, but also I just want to be able to play a Pokemon game with my kiddo, right?
Right. Well, that's going to happen with the Switch, bro. So we've got one coming out.
Yeah, I know that it's just not out yet, right? So
it's not out yet, but it's coming out in November, mid-November. So that's the big ramp up. There's a couple of games. And speaking of, a lot of the reviewers have been reviewing the Switch Mini. What are they calling it? It's the Mini, I guess.
That's nice.
The handheld only version of the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been like, yeah, that's nice. $100 cheaper, but might not be worth it for the trade-offs that you get, that you can't plug it into your TV when you want to. It's like the fact that it was already handheld. It was a little bigger. It was already handheld, and just being able to like go take it with you, or then go play it on your TV. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it because
I wouldn't get a mini. Like I mean,
I only have one TV.
So. But at the same time, you only have one TV. But the old Switch doesn't stop you from doing that. That's what I'm saying. It's like the old Switch still lets you play handheld.
It's just big. It's just
right.
Nice to have a little one that
You pay.
Also, it's $100 cheaper. What are you talking about? That's a real.
Right, but then you don't have any controllers to play with your kiddo.
I don't like my kiddo.
That's fair. Good night, folks.
No, you're right. I mean, I again, there's three things. When I say things, there's three jars that I save money in. Right? There's one for a 3D printer, there's one for a Nintendo Switch, and there's one for my regular 3D printer. Right? And they're all accumulating cash, but they're not quite there yet. So I probably will be getting the new version of the Switch sometime.
Which is already out. technically.
Technically.
Any new version you get now at the store is going to be the new model. It's
all right.
-1, as they call it. It looks exactly the same. It's got a bigger battery life on it. That's pretty much all it is. They changed the battery on the internal.
Sorry, I keep playing with my screen because Civilization keeps wanting to pop up. So
yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to get my camera to stop auto focusing.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I pretty much keep Civilization open all the time. So there we go, full screen mode.
So you've been playing Civ. Any? What's been your Xbox go-to right now on the Game Pass?
We're still rocking our Division 2 games. I'm trying to get into it, but I'm finding the grind for gear to be indecipherable, I think is the best way to put it. There's too many options. There's too many things. There's not enough clues. There's not a clear path to growth. So I complained to my buddy last Sunday that the three of us played together for about 3 hours, and I got nothing out of it. I mean, I enjoyed the social aspect and had fun playing with my friends, but there wasn't any improvement in my gear score at all. So I'm not feeling that grind. So I try to play a few new missions, and I'm enjoying that on Division 2. And then I've been trying out Xbox Game Passes, just one right after the other, to see what grabs me.
Through the different games, I've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, just trying all the new ones. And the one that has me now in its clutches is Flame in the Flood, or the Flood in the Flame in the Flood. It's got it's a little girl and her dog roguelike, so you're going down a river and you got to stop at different spots to gather more supplies, food. Yeah, you can. So you got like the hunger meter and the thirst meter and the weather meter and the sleep meter, and you got to try to balance all.
So there's management to it all,
because it's a survival game, right? So you're gathering materials to make better clothes, survive the cold, and things like that. But it's really like
again,
it's simple and intuitive. It's like easy.
Would have never picked that game up if it wasn't for a Game Pass. I love that.
Oh yeah, no, I would. I saw it. You know, it's one of those things. I saw it at full price. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 2 years ago when it came out. I don't know when it came out. And I was like, oh, that looks like an interesting concept, but I didn't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox Game Pass, I am strung out on the good stuff. I can't stop playing it. R likes to watch me play. She likes to make me run into the snakes because snakes will reach out and bite you. And it's kind of funny because snakes kill you if you don't cure the poison within a day. Like, you literally die. So I have to like go and get bit and then spend.
Oh, so you do it on purpose to like?
Yeah, I do it on purpose because she wants. Yeah, exactly. She wants
to get antidote.
And then I have to drink an antidote, and I'm just like, well, that's precious resources wasted to go out together, but that's fine. I likes it.
Oh, so you have to make it? Is there crafting?
You're crafting all the goods. It's neat, right? Like you have to make like a spear trap if you want to fight the boars, and boars will break your bones when they charge you, and breaking bones is obviously bad news. It's a survival game, right? So
20 to 50 wild
30 to 50 boars.
30 to 50 wild boars.
And there's no assault rifle. How am I to defend my children? How am I to defend my children?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are topical here at the Crisis. Just putting that out there. All right, we've hit our meme quota for the day.
It was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite ones. Watching that one shoot the heck up was good stuff. That was very, very good stuff.
Oh man, that was such a good one.
Yeah, I've been playing that. A little Batman 3 Lego again. Xbox Game Pass, right? I mean, I know we pimp it out a lot and we talk about it a lot, but it's
the best value. It's the best bang for your buck.
I haven't had to buy a game since Division 2 in weeks and weeks and weeks.
No, and the next game you're buying is Borderlands.
Yeah, with each bit of news that comes out of Borderlands 3, I'm like, I could delay a week. I could delay another week. It's like,
really?
Yeah, like
the news that's come out. Like, there's been something that's told you to wait.
The developers are kind of jerky, right? There's like a cloud of garbage news about them and their badness.
Talk to me about it, because I've actually been away from it for a little bit. I've been avoiding it enough that I honestly didn't even look at the 4 trailers for the
characters.
Oh yeah,
neither have I.
but I
I haven't watched any gameplay footage, and honestly,
I've
if I'm
avoided
honest, I haven't even read the news. I've just been seeing headlines, so I don't know what's real, what's not.
Yeah, well, we can't believe all headlines. Just like
No. Again, I just with each headline, I get less hyped. I guess is the best way to put it.
really.
Just because I'm just like either I'm overexposed to it, or I just fear that it's going to be like another Red Dead Redemption 2 that I'm just going to be disappointed immensely.
Nah, you won't be.
Yes, you're like, nah. You don't know how little it takes to disappoint me. Though.
I know.
It's really
little. It's just like
I have extremely high standards.
it's so high standards. Like,
It's very hard to cross.
I don't even know how I'm his friend. Like I don't even understand. Like
Because you absorb my blows. You just don't. You're like impervious to my rage. It's good. The how you say? One weird thing. The whole Fortnite Borderlands crossover thing.
yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit.
That didn't make me mad. Like I wasn't. Like I've seen the comments online. People are really mad about it.
Oh my god, I love it. And you know what? I have absorbed enough of your personality to understand that. Like, I remember having the conversation, the Magic the Gathering conversation with you about buying decks and finding specific cards and like tearing it in front of individuals.
I've told this story on this podcast, right?
You have not. You have
no,
not.
Come on.
You
bonus
have not.
Content later. Bonus content one day.
So,
You can't
bonus content. Bonus content. It'll happen. It'll happen probably today, but we'll talk about it. Enough to know that you and I both kind of have learned to relish the hate. Lately, there have been multiple announcements to the Epic Game Store. If you follow, like I said, I keep plugging this guy, Wario64, the greatest guy on Twitter. I swear to God, he's one of the major reasons I even keep Twitter installed on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps me informed. Like every time a new trailer hits, every time like boom, like the moment it happens, he keeps me going. If there's a sale on a game, he keeps me informed, and I have his notifications turned on him. He has been one that has posted that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, new game exclusive to the Epic Game Store, and I've been replying like, I can taste the tea. Because there's this hate, there's this stupid. We've talked about it on the show. This stupid hate about these individuals that hate things that are coming exclusively to the store. Like they only want the Steam store to exist, but these are the same people that probably rage about choice.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand. Like the Epic Games Store is the second store. We finally have a second marketplace.
I guess Epic's the big bad because Fortnite, right? The Fortnite hate out there is real. And
I love it. And you know why I love it? Because we played Fortnite before it was Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
Before it was what it is now. You and I bought that game. Bought the August of
I bought the Founders Pack. I fully supported the whole concept. I was having so much fun with it.
We had a blast. It made its money. Like its money's worth. We put in the hours that we needed to. We played lots of the single player. I played enough of the multiplayer to make it 3, whatever. But the single player alone, I still think the save the world aspect is still one of my favorite parts of that game. And it's not
if the community wasn't such
garbage. Wow.
I didn't want to say garbage, but such a struggle. Because there are a lot of good high-level players. It's just rare that you'll bump into them.
Right, because it's not the quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now people really hate it, and it's weird, right? Because you think that everyone loves the Borderlands peanut butter, and you mix it with the Fortnite chocolate, it would have made something better and more exciting. But the comments, like every other comment on every Borderlands 3 X Fortnite crossover, is like I'm just like
ambrosia to me. I love it.
You're so mad.
I saw them post.
Don't buy the skin.
Yeah, it was a teaser, right? So the first thing that they posted was the day before they announced it was they posted a bunch of stickers.
Mm-hmm.
Like the post was when you see it, and I was like, my sister posted it and tagged me on it and was like, oh my God, look! And I was like, what? And I sat there and looked, and sure enough, I saw the Psycho skin behind them. I'm like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Sure enough, next day trailer hit and Fortnite added a fun thing. They added like a zone. They turned a zone of the game.
And to cell shaded Fortnite graphics
with loot boxes. I was like, that's freaking neat. Like, what world do we live in where we hate on a game that loves other games? Fortnite is like top of the heap. They make enough money that they're like, hey man, we're going to go ahead and give love to all these other franchises and games and whatever else. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get the hate.
That's interesting. I wonder.
Could you imagine?
The take is less like they love other games so much as like they're not a game. They are a service. And their service is so big now that other games have to come to them for advertisement.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
We've already talked about this. They are a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
They only make money when people buy skins. So for them to jump on and make money off of other games' release is the smartest thing on the freaking planet.
Yes. Yes. And Borderlands 3, of course, gets hopefully some crossover purchases, though it's one of those things, right? I used to work for a huge corporation that would put other people's brands on their products to sell them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it actually pushed more of
your product. A good example.
Instead, what I think it was, it really just advertised the other person's product a lot more, right? It was
one of the greatest things you ever gave me was from a third-party thing. And
talk about that the Back to the Future
thing, the Back to the Future, the Pepsi thing, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Did it sell more cola for you? Absolutely not. All it did was probably create good press and lots of bad press because people couldn't get
lots of bad press.
Yeah, but you know what?
A lot of really sad, ungrateful people out there who didn't get a product and was very upset they didn't get it.
Did not.
I mean, you were one of those people for a little while.
Yeah, it was.
And all I had to do was go to the back of my building and look at the dumpster, and it was. I'm kidding. There was. It wasn't a dumpster. Come on.
It was Brad's desk. Brad had like 17 boxes.
Dude, he didn't have a pallet
of these, and they all expired by that point. People couldn't drink them. Whatever.
News from the corporate front, right? That's always the weirdest.
Yeah, hype is funny. The internet is funny. We talk about this. We're old enough that we've been around for the ups and downs of it, and seen things like release of like big products like that, and Fortnite and everything else. It's just all fluff, and people will just move on to the next thing. I don't understand why they have to hate on this one. Like,
because it feels good, man. Like that little bit of rage, you throw it out into the world.
It's funny. I worked for one of the biggest companies in the world,
right?
And it was interesting because at one point in time the company
by valuation, for the record, by valuation.
Yeah. By valuation, for sure.
By valuation, for the record.
By valuation, my money. The company that I worked for is no surprise. It was this fruit with a bite out of it, and that particular company at one point in time was the underdog. Pre 2008.
One point in time for like 20-something years.
Yeah, for 20 years, man. Like they sucked. They were like, they had 1% of the computer market. They were like, you owned a Mac and you're like, oh, you're the underdog. Like, oh, look at you and you're peppy, cool. I would love to buy a Mac because they're so well built. But I just can't do that. I'm just gonna buy a PC anyway. And then
I like having a right click, right? I like a
right. And then all of a sudden, boom, Intel comes into play, the iPhone comes into play, and now they're like the most valuable company in the world, and yet now it's fun to hate on them. Like, it's interesting. Like, wait a minute, but they're still the underdog in some way because they're still not number one in computer sales.
I mean, you definitely...
The iPhone still is second to Android just because Android can sell a $20 Android phone.
Listen, fanboy, you just slow down.
I'm just saying, man.
I mean, my opinion of it, it's okay to hate the big company. Like, it really is fine.
I mean, we had a whole conversation about this last week, right?
Well,
Like
I think it's weird.
Hate the big corporations in some way.
We should hate the big corporations. We used to hate Microsoft. Now I'm like, I can't stop talking about how much I love my Xbox Pass. Like, it used to be.
Now they're the underdog.
Exactly. I hated these companies, and now I'm like, oh, Disney, yeah, take that. I don't care. But like, it's just, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, what people love to do is really, I think it's like this weird combination of trolling, but you can't.
If I gave you $20 right now, would you go buy the Borderlands skin?
Would I go buy the Borderlands skin?
Just because?
Wait, so you give me $20? You give me $20 and you're covering the cost of the Borderlands skin, or I have to use that $20 to buy the
$20 to buy the Borderlands?
No, pass.
Okay.
Because you know why? I gotta install the game, and that's not worth like bucks.
Yeah, you can't even do it. You don't even have an iPhone enough or an iPad that could download it.
Oh no,
that's what I've been doing. I've been leaving Fortnite installed on like one of my mobile apps, and like anytime a fun skin comes up, I'll pop it open and be like, "Ooh, I've got enough coins for that," and buy it on there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm such a big consumer whore, man. Have you seen my Amiibo collection? Come on, man.
That is. So that Zelda station is like 90% Amiibos. Is that really?
It's a big hunk of Amiibos for sure. Yeah, there's a big hunk of them, and then I've got a big Deku tree created by a wonderful individual on Instagram. I think, and I'm going to tell you.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, she made it by hand out of clay and whatnot. I commissioned it. She makes a Korok. And a bunch of other little miniatures from Zelda, and she does a great job of it. And her name is Legendary. I'm gonna plug her right here. Legendary Treasures on Instagram. LEGENDARY Treasures. TREASURES. And she'll post on there. She makes them out of clay. They're all handmade, like clay. And she makes little miniatures. She made a bunch of Koroks from Zelda, the little guys that you find all over the world. And I
have no idea what they are.
Anywho, they're just like these. So there's like 999 of them, 900 of them all over the map on the new Zelda, and you find them, and they're just like these like little wood leaf people. And they
okay, all right.
They, like find them, and they give you a Korok seed, and then you collect enough of those, and you cash them in for bonuses. And
I can dig it.
Whatever. They're just an extra expandable for the game. But what's nice is she makes like the miniatures out of clay, and they're really beautiful. But she also made a giant Deku tree for me. It's about this big.
That's a tree in the middle, right on the shelf.
Tree in the middle, and what's great about it is it's all you can see. It's all handmade and it's beautiful. So I ordered it because I wanted a kind of a centerpiece for all of my other miniatures. And so
it's too many miniatures. You need to. It's a Marie Kondo that down to like
every single one of them brings me.
Every single one of them brings
me joy. As I was unboxing them, I would open them up and I'm like, oh man, I remember when I bought this one. I remember when I stood in line for this one.
Oh, that's fair. And you're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, oh consumer god.
I mean, I looked at those two shelves and I immediately was filled with like anxiety. I was like, oh my god, that's too much stuff up there. What if it gets dusty? All that stuff's just going to be covered in dust.
So what's interesting is I have a paintbrush that I eventually go up there once every, like they're not as dusty as they were because I go up there once every few months and I grab them and I pull them out and I put it back. So it's like bonsai trees.
It's like bonsai trees.
Yeah, man, it's like bonsai trees. It's they're like cultivate them.
And more appear. I don't know how they got there, but there's more. The collection keeps growing, and I feel meditative and better after.
Makes me happy. What's interesting?
Good for you, dude. Good for you.
What's interesting is I've been trying to keep them to a shelf. If the shelf fills up, then I either get rid of something or I realize that maybe this one is a little janky and goes away, and I fill it in. Or buy a whole new shelf.
You are in Texas, so you just buy a bigger shelf.
Buy more.
You are. That is the solution to everything in Texas.
It really is. It really is.
Spread out bigger.
Especially Plano, where I'm in right now. Holy crap! Everything is big.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's big. I understand now where that everything is bigger in Texas thing because Plano. I lived where everything was close to the coast, and so the city was very compact, and so everything was building outwards and westbound. But honestly, Houston was just kind of like feeling kind of like elbowy, kind of like, oh, there's every building is right next to another, every business is right next to each other, strip malls and everything.
What ridiculous.
Right, ridiculous. Then I moved out here, and everything is just like so much more space. I'm like, what is going on here? It's uncomfortable even for a Texan, like how much space someone has. Yeah, it's weird. Everyone has single-story houses.
You're pulling out of the parking lot from your first store, and you're like, oh, it's 10 minutes to the next store.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, it's 18 minutes to the next store.
That's exactly what it is. Everyone's got single-story houses here, not because they don't want to build vertical, because they have enough land to build just like outwards.
Yeah, which is weird because you think with cooling and heat. Well, I guess you don't need much heating, but with cooling, you gotta.
Cooling, right? You have to have two units because heat cool stays low; it doesn't go up. So if you cool the bottom floor, it doesn't go up. You have to cool.
But you want your HVAC units up top, so the cool air goes down.
Right, but then you need two HVAC units because the square footage can't handle for one. So most of the time you have to.
Don't you have two HVAC units now in your big ass long house?
No, not this one. No, it's just one, and it's been fantastic. That's been one of the fun things in the new house. I've been tweaking everything. I've been like smart homing everything, kind of like installing the smart thermostats and installing the lights and going LED on everything to kind of like. And then I've been playing that game where like I pull up my wattage usage, and I'm like, can I drop it this week? Can I drop it this week? I'm like gamifying my own freaking power usage.
That's amazing to me. That's amazing to me. And this guy can't find any time to play Gears of War with me.
Because I've been gamifying my freaking power company.
So sad. I have it installed, and I'm like, when am I going to kick this off?
I'm ready. We're doing it this week.
Good. So that's it. We've been playing a little bit of board games, but not as much as I would like. We started playing played a lot of Magic Labyrinth is what we've been playing a lot of. Magic Labyrinth all the time. She loves it. It's the one where you bump into walls because of the magnets. Told you about that one last week. So we've just been rocking that one out.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What are you doing with your children's?
So my children, they have been, I've been trying to find a way to get them to like, hey, have a good week at school, and you can do this. Give them, I've already got too much crap, right? Like I've got computers, I've got all of their handheld, I've got all these video game systems. So I've got to limit them, right? So they can play their Switch and their iPads during the week in moderation. But then during the weekend, they ask me for other stuff. And so the Xbox has become kind of like hey, can I play Daddies? Oh, can I play Daddies? And they sometimes want to play the same game that they already play. I'm like, you want to play Minecraft on the Xbox? Why? And they're like, oh, because it's on the big TV. I'm like, but you can plug the Switch, and I'm so confused. What?
It's on the Xbox. That's why.
Because it's the Xbox, right? I don't know. So they asked for Xbox version, but one of the things is I opened up the Game Pass, and it shows all the games, and I'm like, hey, buddy, what do you want to play? And sure enough, I'm scrolling through. I'm like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, no. And Ollie, my youngest, is the one that wanted to pick a game this time. So I was like, all right. And he picked a Goat Simulator.
Okay.
Yeah, have you played this game? It's absolutely nonsense.
It's dumb as all get out. Yes.
It's Tony Hawk meets goats. Is the best way I could put it. It's like you're constantly running around and doing things to score, and
it's good timing, actually.
Yeah, I think, and it's now become this game that he like lusts over, and I downloaded it because it's on the Game Pass, and it came with a bunch of the DLC, and
is it with the DLC on the Game Pass?
Part of it, not all of it, but of course they wanted more of it, so I said, you know what, I haven't bought you a game in a while, so I spent the extra like $7
to get the rest of it. Yeah.
Get the rest of it, and I'm like, there you go. You now have a complete.
It had like a Payday crossover, like
it's got a bunch of Payday and like a Skyrim and a Star Wars and a zombie game, as a Z-Day or a Goats with a Z at the end. And this thing, it's just like the undead goat running around, and you can like bah on people, and then turn them into undead. you like infect them. It's the dumbest thing, and they love it. They love it.
I won't lie. I played it all the way. I think I scored 950. It released with 1,000 achievement points, and I played it long enough to get 950. So
what? You are that person that
I mean, I had to watch videos to do it, but I mean, I definitely went out of my way.
I forgot, guys. If you didn't know, he is the achievement.
I was. I wish I had more time to score those achievements. So
what's nice is with Game Pass, it allows you to just drop any new game and then take a look and get you. You don't have to like go, oh, I'm going to spend money to get more gamer score points.
Yeah, I'm better now, and because I used to put on a game and be like, well, I got to squeeze every point out of this because this is the game I bought. So I would push myself to get that 1,000 points. And now that I have the Xbox Game Pass, I'm like, intro, first quest. I didn't really like this game. That's enough points for me. And I'll just put it aside.
Yeah.
It's sad because I feel like I should try a little harder, but also,
I did that with achievement points are one of the greatest things that they brought back into the.
Yeah, it's good.
It allows you to kind of like push yourself. It gives you a secondary kind of goal
to
kind of play through a game that you might have to slog through a little bit, and then eventually you're like, oh man, I really enjoy it. And like, you enjoyed it because you decided to go for those extra points.
And I like it. I still like it whenever it pops up at the bottom of the screen. I'm like, sweet, yes,
points,
100 points.
What's interesting is my kiddos. So let's talk about something real quick. And just because not you got me on the topic, have you found an easy way to make a secondary account for your kid yet?
No.
I feel like that's the one thing that Microsoft maybe might be lacking.
She's got to log in as a guest all the time.
Yeah, either you guest or you have to actually give them like a Microsoft account, like give them an email account and.
No. But yeah, right. Is that what you did? Is that what you want to do?
No, I haven't done that. They've been playing on mine, and what's been funny about it is I give them the controller and they play, and I'll sit there and watch them for like 20, 30 minutes, and they're like, okay, well, kiddo, now that you're enjoying this and you've kind of got the swing of it, I'll let you play, and I'll go run and do some stuff. And then I got my phone on me, and I've got the Xbox account, the Xbox program installed, and all of a sudden, boop, boop, I get achievement points. I start getting all these Chivos.
That's awesome.
You're like, yes,
that's the dream. I want my kid earning me achievement points.
My Chivo points. I'm like, yes. But my point is like I would like for them to get those points at some point. Like
they earned them. They should get them.
And, Xbox isn't friendly towards that. Like I wish there was.
Don't you have to set up like a family account and then you have to create them accounts?
Yeah, right. So like. What's nice about Xbox Live is any account on the Xbox will just use like they'll be able to play anything, which is great.
But you have to create accounts for them where they're out there.
And you can't just go and create, like, just let me create an account that's like a sister or brother account to mine.
There's a shit ton of things that they're not quite there yet when it comes to that stuff. So yeah,
just give me that option. Just let me go. I have a kid. I am an adult. You are 38 years old. Do you have any kids? Yes. How many do you have? 2. Do you want to give them accounts? Yes. Here you go. They are now tied to your account. They're not real accounts until they hit a certain age.
And then it's got like Penguin Club names, so their names are hidden and they don't have voice actors. Right. Like they automatically have all the parental controls in place.
That would be great.
Are you listening out there, folks?
Yeah, we're giving them ideas as usual. just give us secondary accounts that work as ours. That they are us, but they have a different name. And unless we give them access for online, like vocals or online chat, then they just can't do anything other than just piggyback and have their own. And then when they
they have access to is our library, just like a normal house would be.
Right. And then when they turn 15 or 18 or whatever age you want to, cut that tether, you go, okay, now tie an email address to it, and then
my God! And like I could see like a message from Microsoft being like, "Congratulations, it's your Xbox name day," and I'm like, what?
Right, dude, that's epic. A game day. Like, it's your name day, and your name all of a sudden becomes its own account as opposed to being like
doing the Fortnite floss dance for you with the avatar. Like name day.
Dude, that's it. That's exactly it. I mean, it's so silly, but we think about this all the time. But as
right, Phil, are you listening, Phil? I know you watch our show.
Just I know. Right. Major Nelson, I know you're listening.
I know you're listening, Major Nelson.
You're a huge fan.
I get your hate messages.
He's a big DC fan, guys. That's why.
Is he? You and him must get together in the old locker room, the empty hall of justice. Don't spit it out.
It's so lonely. It's so lonely.
That's good stuff. Goat Simulator is ridiculous, man. That's a ridiculous.
Yeah, so he's been in there. They laugh and laugh like idiots because the dumbest thing. Like, I remember when the game first came out, and I was like, "Oh, it's a goat simulator, haha, funny." But apparently, I wasn't paying attention enough that they added all these like additions, and there's other animals you unlock.
Yep.
So they were running around as a flamingo.
That's hilarious.
And they put a jetpack on the flamingo. So they're like, the flamingo's like flying across the screen. Then they hit the jetpack button and they're like, and the flamingo can't handle it. So it's just like tumbling in the air. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'm like
the world's worst physics simulator, except it's with a goat. It's really stupid.
I love it. And you hit.
I think there was one point where there was achievement for like headbutting Satan. So like you actually have to figure out a way to get to hell as a goat. And you're just an ornery goat, so you just headbutt. You do the little headbutt charges.
I'm like, you know what? I might sit down with them this weekend and just kind of Chivo hunt with them. Like,
yeah, Chivo hunt. Get the list because they're all. Some of them are hard, but they're all achievable in that. Like as long as you know what you're supposed to do. Like some of them are like pick up 3 rings, but the 3 rings are in weird places, right? So
right.
And you have to pick them up in a certain order, and you wouldn't know this unless some person already. It's like Nintendo Power. You're like, how would anyone know how to do this in Castlevania?
Right. No one would know.
No one would know. But so this is the same thing with Ghost Simulator.
Yeah, so
they've got a crazy community as well.
Of course, my youngest is the one that plays that, and he loves it, and he's been asking for it all week. And I'm like, buddy, is it the weekend? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, how many days left? Yeah. I'm like, how many more days left? And he's like, well, today's Monday. And I'm like, today's Monday. And I'm like, so today's now Wednesday. So first thing he did when he got in the car, and he's like, Daddy, I've got 2 more days left before I can play. And I'm like, yes, Friday afternoon you can play. And he's like, yes.
You're such a nice dad because you're like Friday afternoon. Meanwhile, I'm like, that means you got 2 more days to blow it.
That's me and the oldest. I'm that ornery with the oldest.
2 more days to mess it up.
2 more days, or you won't get VR. And that's the one thing he's been asking. He's been asking to play
VR,
PlayStation VR. Yeah, so he's been playing.
So are you not? I mean, like, are you not worried about the effects of VR on young kids' brains?
He plays it for such a small amount of time that it's not negotiable. Like, I get it. Like, they've got all of these warnings are like, no one under 12. And I'm like, come on. No one, come on.
Come on, scientists, with your nonsense.
Nonsense. Like, I get it. They don't want my kid playing 20 hours of VR in a row. It's like to make him go cross-eyed. Like, I get it. But, like, 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours worth of VR, within a weekend is not that bad. And
okay. I mean, I was just curious if you were at all worried that they're going to Kano's going to be untethered from the real world and stuck.
Oh, man.
Forever in super hot, blasting people's heads and throwing.
No, I've been moderating the games that he plays. Of course, they're all.
You have.
He loved like. Oh man, I've got to hop on Super Hot. I got to try that. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried Super Hot.
What?
I haven't. It's been one game. I've been so enthralled in Tetris Effect. The Tetris VR. It's so great. Like you're just like in space and there's just blocks flying.
This
like,
guy.
Yeah.
Enjoying 50 years of video game technology to still play Tetris.
I am that guy. Look at me, dude. I sit down and play Mario like 3 times a week. Like not like Mario 3 on my NES, just because I'm like,
yeah. This guy's playing Tetris.
This guy's playing Tetris. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah, man. It's great. Tetris Effect. If you haven't played it, we talked about it in the VR episode with Jordan. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. They've really made it. They really made it immersive. So
immersive. Do you stand underneath the blocks? How does that?
Yeah, man. It's nuts. Like you're sitting there and like you've got these blocks and they're like in front of you. It's a complete acid trip. It's
all right. Okay, I can see that. And you like mellow out, get into a zone.
Oh, dude, you're totally zoned out. You're like in this happy.
Every time I play Tetris, I'm always walk away from the Tetris game feeling great. So it's
yeah. So could you imagine like putting on a helmet and you're like in nice happy space with like.
I felt that way about Race the Sun. That's the same sort of feeling where you're like in a perfect zone.
That's exactly it. And VR games, I think, for our age, I don't need to be dumped into Doom.
You know what? I don't need to be a teleporting archer. I don't need to be a teleporting archer anymore.
Yeah, well, we're getting there, man. We just can't. We can't.
VR game is shoot over there and you teleport, or shoot them in the face.
You're like, boom, and that's because it's the only way they can get movement moving without you having like a actual movement. So they can't
put me in a mech where I pull bars down and load cannons. Put me in a mech. Put me in something.
Have we not gotten a mech VR game yet? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I think I remember reading a review of one that was like not. Oh, it was like a Kinect one. That's why it didn't work out.
No. Steel Battalion for Xbox Kinect was terrible. Steel Battalion, the original Steel Battalion for original Xbox was a phenomenal game. Which, again, every PAX they've always got a LAN room full of it because. It was the one with the $100 controller. Remember that?
That was
giant like levers and knobs and switches. And
it's. I mean, that power up sequence is a blast.
It's great.
Usually, there's like 8 buttons, so you just flip just for that. Not use the whole game. You're just like.
But you've got this giant panel that you play with, and that's the effect. But drop a freaking Oculus Rift on that. And give me like a rumble vibrator.
Where's my X-Wing simulator? Why can't I ride as Red 4? You know, like why can't I go and fight in the Battle of Scarif? Like why is that not something I can do? Look to my left and see my wing guys. And
I don't know.
Why
leaving money on the table?
You're the worst.
Leaving money on the table.
I would tell you what. I would take my 3 funds, my 2 printer and my Switch fund, and put them all in one jar. If they released a remastered X-Wing or TIE Fighter. TIE Fighter is the best one of the series in VR. That would be mind-blowing. It'd be worth it to buy a brand new computer that can run VR, a headset that can let me play VR, and I just sit there with my flight stick. Ooh, my flight stick, you know what I mean.
Flight stick.
I got 2 hands. I can fly and clean. So. Anyway,
no, it's totally true.
I would drop a fat amount of money on a really good spaceship simulator, and every so often I'll download one that I think looks like Everspace or Space Clear or whatever they have out there, and it just doesn't scratch that itch of being part of a wing of spaceships and blasting other spaceships. No game has come close. You know what game occasionally does? Starfox.
Now.
That's
an interesting thing to talk about. There is do you think Starfox does it because you kind of develop like a connection with all these other characters, but
yeah,
you feel like you think TIE Fighter or X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, those games, and did it because you as a kid watched Star Wars, and so you like saw that cinematic moment of like meeting these like, oh, copyright leader and this and that, and you're like, go and you got this idea of like, man, I want to be that, and then you play the game and you immediately shoot back in your head. So there's nothing. These other games are trying to do original IP, and they don't give you that real connection because
Wing Commander
have a Star Wars memory to kind of.
You know what? Because there's a lot of. Those other games often have a lot of floof, a lot of stuff that I don't want, right? Like a lot of times it's behind the ship views. I don't want that. I want to be in the cockpit.
I want to be in the cockpit.
I do
the same thing with every driving game. Everyone likes to play third party, and I'm like, nah, man. The first thing when I download any of the Forza games or whatever, I jump in and I go into like first person view. That's the way to play. Yeah. That's the way to play. Like,
why would you play on any way? I mean, I guess if you're playing Grand Theft Auto, you want to play that way.
Yeah. Because you got to. But any driving game, I immediately go into like a cockpit view because
you might be right. It might be because it's Star Wars. But I played the heck out of Wing Commander. I played a bunch of
Wing Commander had Mark Hamill.
Huh?
Voice acting. Like at the time, I remember dropping that CD-ROM game in. And you were like, oh.
It was a great game. Like,
it was a great game, but it was also one of it was a game that was first of its kind at the time, right? Do you remember we dropping in Wing Commander and they like, what is this, cinematics? What is this, like, voice acting in my PC game? Like, what is going on here?
I'm going to blast that freaking cat out of the sky. Like, come on. You're like dogfighting.
Yes, and you were doing all that, but that's because you had all this like great voice acting. Like all these games now are trying to like.
I don't need voice acting. I need 3 of my buddies online with me. That's what I need. Like that is the multiplayer experience I want. I want to go. Joe, you cover my wing, and then I want to go Red 5, and my brother's like, stop calling me Red 5. Like that's what I want. I call you that because you die every time.
Wedge! Wedge!
It doesn't matter what game I'm playing. That's what I want, right? That's
I want. Yeah.
I wanna assault the Death Star with my 3 or 4 buddies. You know? Much in the same way that Star Trek VR game was fantastic, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a fantastic game, and we've played it. And I mean, come on, that moment when we realized it was the Kobayashi.
That was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I get chills thinking about it. I get upset thinking about it. Of course it is.
For you guys that haven't been following the show, or we got to sit down and play Star Trek VR at PAX, the group, 5 of us sat down, and I jumped on as captain, and everyone else jumped on as different stations. And
I was rocking out engineering.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
It was good. It was a lot of fun.
And if you haven't read reviews on this game, it's one of those games that doesn't get the love review-wise because it's expensive to play, right? Like, so you don't have, like, even on PlayStation, you don't just have to have a PlayStation. You have to have a PlayStation and a VR headset. So, and you also need 4 other friends that you can trust to kind of jump on with their VR headsets and hop online. So it's the cost of admission is too great at the moment. It's not the norm for everyone's got an Xbox, but not everyone has an Xbox and a freaking VR headset. So that's the key there. And we got to do it. Like they had these stations set up with
like mega Uber computers all set up.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of like whatever. We hopped on. And it was fantastic. It was worth the wait. We waited like an hour to play it. And when we sat down to play it, it was worth it. Like we ran through this whole scenario.
It was like a 48-minute demo. It was ridiculous.
Right. It was 48 minutes, like 40 minutes in. And then all of a sudden, like at the 38-minute mark, 10 minutes before, we realized what it is. And we're like,
because we got the ship identification on our screen. I was like, that's the fucking
yeah, that's exactly what happened. We're sitting there and I'm like sitting there in my captain's chair and I'm looking around and they're like, Captain, and they're like, so-and-so, you know, it's like Kobayashi Maru. And I'm like, oh, this is the Kobayashi Maru.
So, of course, we failed, mainly because engineering...
But you're supposed to fail.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Engineering did not know how to work the teleporter, so there wasn't anybody teleported.
Wasn't anyone teleporting in?
I was like, I'm supposed to be doing that? Oh, my bad.
You fail the whole simulator, and all of a sudden, everything comes up as a simulation inside of a simulation, and you're like,
yeah, this is what VR's for. So yeah.
Really a world within a world.
Dog, I heard you like VR. So
I heard you like VR, so we gave you VR within VR. That's
we're just memeing today. We're just memeing today. There you go,
guys. That's exactly what happened. It was a fantastic, and you know what? That happened not last year, the year before last. That passed.
Yeah.
And we still talk about it to this day because
the best experience I've ever had in VR is exactly those experiences where my buddies and I are doing that. Even when we were playing the disarm the bomb game.
Yeah, freaking
same exact amazing
feeling. Talking or bomb
explodes. Or the bomb explodes, something like that.
Yeah.
Or the room explodes. I don't know. But even that one was a fantastic, like,
it's still one of the greatest experiences I've ever had.
That's what I'm saying. And this is the experience I want in VR. And one of my experiences in playing those fight simulators often is that my brother or my buddy at the time, we would play and I would be piloting on the flight stick, and they would be working the keyboard controls so they can adjust shields and speed. So we had like a co-pilot.
I don't need 5 players. Give me Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Give me Maverick. Give me Maverick.
We're getting a new Top Gun. Did I dream that? Sometimes I feel like remakes, like I have a fever dream. Are we getting a new Top Gun?
We are getting a Top Gun, and we talked about it. The fact that here we have Tom Cruise in his like weird, like I'm not going to give up my childhood kind of scenario.
Never going to age either. That's creepy as heck how he hasn't aged.
So younger than I am.
You are getting it. I feel like there was another franchise that Dora the Explorer. You went to see that, right?
Oh my God, I forgot. Yes.
So Again, yeah, we're doing all sorts of family stuff. We love our kids, but
We love our kids.
I remember seeing that trailer and thinking to myself, "Wow, this is like a real high production SNL skit." When did the laughs come in?
That's exactly what it was, and I loved it. I walked out of that going, I enjoyed that.
Was it like Jumanji enjoyable?
Yeah, man. So okay,
Jumanji the second one with Rock, which was great. Part 2, that was
the second one is in the reboot, whatever. That was also one of those movies that you like watch and you're like, what am I gonna get out of this? And you're like, oh my god, this
got some laughs. And I finished my popcorn.
That's exactly it. Jumanji was that good, and Dora the Explorer was interesting. Like they took it at the very beginning of the movie. No spoilers. I don't want to spoil it much, but at the beginning of the movie, you're just like you're talking about they show like Dora as a little kid. And they're showing her swinging through the vines and whatnot, and with boots and talking. I'm a backpack that talks, and they actually make all those jokes. And then all of a sudden they flash over to like Dora sitting in a cardboard box with her cousin, and it's like all of it. The entire show has been in her head. Like the whole adventures were like within a space in the jungle. Yes, they were in the jungle, but her parents are like actual. Adventurers, and she just happens to be the kid growing up in there, and she plays these games in her head to kind of like grow up. As the movie starts with that like young scene, and then Diego moves to the city, her cousin Diego, and then they flash forward like 10 years later, and Dora is now a teenager, and they show her actually in the jungle, like swinging and like talking, like, oh, Mr. Cayman, how you doing? Like giant, like, but they're like these big animals that are wild, but she just treats them like, whatever. They're all her buddies and her friends.
Because she's crazy.
Because she's freaking crazy. That's what you think, right?
Completely unsupervised.
Completely unsupervised. She goes to the city because her parents are going to go off on a mission, and they're like, you need to go and like meet people because you're weird. You're a weird kid.
You're a weird kid.
He talks to monkeys who don't talk back to you. And she gets to like the city, and the city is like, you're a freaking weird kid who like talks to and likes to sing and like turns to talk to the camera, and she's like, can you say escuela? And you're like, what the
give me your wallet.
Yeah. So yeah, all of this stuff happens, and then the movie progresses where her parents get kidnapped and whatnot, and then they turn
right. And then there's like action
adventure movie, but then the shoe drops, and it's not even a spoiler, but then you're like, all of a sudden the fucking fox runs by in like CG form and is one of the villains, and you're like,
Swiper no swiping?
Yeah, right. So Swiper is one of the villains, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought all of that was fake, but all of a sudden it's not. And you're like, what? Even the wife, Courtney, was like, okay, Swiper probably took me out of the movie a little bit. It was like the one moment. I guarantee you, whenever you watch this movie, Pedro, you're going to be like, okay. And then Swiper shows up, and you're like, this is the weirdest thing. Why is this here? And then I get it. Like by the end of the movie, you're like, I get it. Like you couldn't have done these movies without at least hitting the major notes. And Swiper being one of them is one of them. But
I was wondering if there was going to be a Swiper, but
there is a freaking Swiper. But honestly, by the end of the movie, you're like, okay. The reason we went to go see this movie though was not because the kids want to go see it or whatever. Was because it is a fully Latino production. They hired a full cultural attaché / like advisory board with an actual language and an actual group and an actual like all of it is culturally accurate. So everyone in the movie is actually Latino in some way, shape, or form. So it's
Latinx. We're still learning, folks. We're still learning, folks.
But yes, everyone's Latinx in some way, shape, or form, from South America to like
that's great.
The language that she speaks, that from the village that that they're trying to like find, or the city of gold that they're trying to find, is an actual like language, and even the big boss lady at the end or whatever, she speaks a language, and it wasn't some made up cinematic language. It's actually like a dead language that they spoke on screen. So I thought it was beautiful done.
Well, was it weird to watch this movie while the Amazon rainforest literally burns?
Right. So it was like,
was it weird? Was it weird? Does it feel a little bit? All right. So yeah. Okay. So your review. I mean,
my review is no different than any other review.
It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was worth every penny I paid. I'm just
I take movies to see when I go to movies like this with my kids. I'm not expecting Oscar-worthy experiences, but I will say that I could have walked out a door going, "This was dumb." And
did your
kids? But they all enjoyed it.
Any attachment to Dora?
Yeah. Connell and Ollie both watched Dora for a very long time.
Ah, okay.
There was a moment of like, "Oh, please stop watching." So yes,
I'm close to that experience with Pokemon right now.
Tell me more about this.
Shut it down. She's just enjoying it, but she keeps watching the Sun and Moon, the new one, the Aloha one, and I'm just like, stop watching these episodes. If I have to hear about Incineroar one more gosh darn time, I'm done. And then there's like one episode where like a corrupt real estate developer is using their Pokemon to buy the other people's. Like I'm just like, what is this show even about? What is this show even about anymore? Like I don't. And now they're like Ultra Beast hunters. So they dress in like Voltron outfits. I don't know what's going on, and I just. It's not that I hate it. It's just that she watches too much of it, and I'm just like.
I got her into like X Evolution or whatever. Into like.
Well, I bought her a big old encyclopedia of the original Pokemon, and we've gone to the library 7 times to take out all the Pokemon books because she's interested in it. So you want to encourage the reading part.
Right? Manga too? Is she like been?
Not the manga. She doesn't. I barely understand how to read the manga. I'm terrible at it, but I took one out just to see. I know, go the other way. I get it.
Can we talk about that? Like, for a second, like, we try to get our American kids into school reading left to right, and then all of a sudden, they open up a manga, and the first page says, "You're holding the book backwards. Let's the other way."
That's because printing it the other way would have cost a fortune, so they're like,
right. No, I get it. Yes. I can run a filter through a bunch of PNG files and flip them real quick, and then, like, all of a sudden, everything's left to right. Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could, yeah.
Everything would be backwards.
Also, I find it hard to believe that all of these books have been generated only in Japan first. Like, I'm just like, I'm like, some of this art was made here in, like...
It's all a bunch of weebs making it.
I'm sorry, we love you, weebs. I'm sorry. We should not...
we are called otaku. Thank you very much. I love you all.
Everyone loves their thing. We try to be nice. But it's like is weeb derogatory? It is derogatory, right? You don't call
sort of, kind of. They call themselves weebs.
They call it because they're capturing it. It's
they're owning it.
Yeah, I'm a weeb. I'm into it. I'm
a weeb in some way, shape, or form. I spent the whole afternoon watching Dragon Ball.
You're like, yeah. Seriously, you're one Plex server away from being the weebiest weeb of all weebs. If you had space, you'd have one more shelf with all the anime stuff on it.
Hard drive is all I need. That's what happened.
Yeah, dude.
I'm also that weeb that's like old enough to have been around when the anime like train started.
Dude, I remember trading VHS tapes.
So right, that's me. So like, then I see all these kids, and then they watch all the like English stuff, and I'm like, what is this English that you speak of? I watch. If my crap isn't dubbed,
are you watching a dub?
Are you
watching a dub?
Are you watching dubs? Like what is this raw rage? I mean, I get it. I got friends that work in the voice acting industry, so I'm like, more power to them, by all means. But at the same time, I'm like, they don't get it right all the time.
They don't get it right. You're like, actually, in the original Japanese,
they say this as opposed to that.
Lord above. Can you imagine being that person? Yeah, I guess you could.
So I've got Dragon Ball. I've been watching Dragon Ball again with the kiddo, Connell, my oldest. He's been running through Dragon Ball Z as of late, and we're running through it. And I'm watching it in English because it's the language he can run through.
It's also how I watched it, for the record, dubbed.
Let me tell you, I am now 38 years old, and watching Dragon Ball dubbed in English is absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. There are moments. Let me just explain something to you real quick. There are moments where there is silence for a reason, but then in the English they add he's doing this because this, or they add a joke or a crack or some sort of nonsense in that moment, and I can switch the language while I'm watching it, and I can go back, watch it in Japanese, then watch it in English again. I'm like, why did you make that joke? Why? You totally changed the tonal, that moment where you're just again, as a kid, you're invested in this moment, in this battle, in this scene.
There's only so many times you can watch Krillin die and not
right, but you're watching the scene and you're oh, the emotion that you're feeling as the Japanese, the music is different, whatever, and then you flip over to English and it's what is going on here? There's you don't need to add a joke here. You don't need to add a joke.
Your voice was kind of perfectly spot on.
That's exactly what it is. Oh, guys, what are we going to do? Oh, I'm what is this? It's so...
My favorite thing to do the R is to try to do Jesse, James, and Meowth's voices when I read the Pokemon books. She hates it.
Blasting off at the speed of light.
Surrender now. Prepare to fight. Now. That's right.
She's like, no, Daddy, stop. I'm like, what?
Nothing is better than making a freaking 6-year-old cringe. She's like,
yeah. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even know how good I am at trolling. I'm daddy trolling level right now. That's not even...
That's not even the real... You're holding back, brah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you'll learn. Once you're 12, I'll be trolling at 100% power. I'm only using 50% power.
50% of my power.
This is only the 3rd episode of our long 40-episode fight.
Charging up. Oh, God.
No, yeah.
All right, guys.
Pokemon. There you go.
On that note, we are weebs, or at least some of us are. We're getting there. We're raising our kids right.
Give us your best family trolling stories. If you troll your kids at all on their things they enjoy, give us your best ones on that.
It's the best.
Enjoy. It's good stuff.
All right, guys. Music from heretofore. What else?
Listening to Mid-Geek Crisis. Let's just announce the show, right?
Yeah.
Episode 41. Thanks for listening.
Episode 41. Yeah.
Yada.
I love you guys. Next week we'll be back. Hopefully, I'm trying to make some changes in the back end right now. I've been working on just stuff, but we're gonna change some formatting and stuff.
Oh, great! I love it. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Love you. Take care of each other. Mwah. Support you once you can. Take care.